Night Radio Show, Third Phase of the Moon. Just press 1 on your keypad, and you'll be bumped up straight to the top of our call list, so we could get to you first. The most urgent callers get the privilege if they press number 1 on their keypad. So let's get to it. Let's bring in the callers right now. Let's bring in a area code. Let's see, 404. You're live, Third Phase of the Moon. How you doing tonight?
Hello. Blake?
Hey, how's it going? You're coming in a little soft there. Hello?
Okay. Hey, Blake?
Gotcha. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. My experience started when I was about 12 years old. It was in Georgia in Powder Springs. I was there on a summer vacation to visit my half-sister and my half-brothers. They was there all together visiting. So, it happened at one night. This is close encounter of the fourth kind. This is where it all began.
Wow.
Okay?
Sir, yeah, let me get your name first. And before we go a little further, I want to make sure we got a good quality sound here. If you could speak up a little bit more. I don't know if it's coming a little closer to the mic. And then, again, introduce yourself and where are you calling in from, sir? And I want to hear about this fourth encounter. This sounds amazing.
Well, I'm coming in from Georgia, okay? My name is, I'm going to give you my nickname, because I don't want to give you my full name right now. Not until I talk to you one-on-one after the show, okay? Because these things are happening even today, okay?
Wow, that's cool. And, great. Let's start from the beginning. Let's get to it.
Okay, let me get to the beginning. It's a long story. And this happened in Georgia, Powder Springs. You can call me Ed. That's my nickname. I was visiting my sister, a half-sister. And me and her son, he's actually a year older than I am. Because my mom had me late when she was in her 50s. But we was in there playing with a Ouija board. This is around 11 o'clock at night. And we was playing a Ouija board. And we was sitting in the living room while they was in the kitchen playing cards and drinking and having a good time. So we was in the living room playing with the Ouija board. And we asked a question. We said, is there other life out there? We got an answer. It says yes. So we said, oh, wow. Then all of a sudden, she has one of these great big windows. It's like 4 by 5 feet wide. It's pretty big, or 5 by 6. And the curtains was spread open, but it had the shears in front of it. And the shears fell straight down, okay? They didn't fall from one side, and, just like they just dropped straight down. And we had a light coming through the window. You know how you have a lighthouse light going around and around? Well, it was going around and around, and it was brightening up the whole living room. So we jumped up, scared us. We jumped up. We walked up to the window. I was on the left side. He was on the... And they got an open field out there. It's a cow pasture. And this flying saucer was all the way up to the window of the house. I could spit at it. It hit the flying saucer. It was a regular saucer shape. It had a dome right on top of it with this moon-shaped light that went around the dome on top. And that was that bright light. So me and him was standing there, just staring at it. We were shocked. We were staring at it. Then all of a sudden, this brighter light hit us from the ship itself.
Wow.
And I felt myself lifted up. And it was pulling us straight toward the window and we could feel ourselves going through, touching that. We was going through it. And that was the last thing I remember. Okay? Then, all of a sudden, we were standing at the same spot, okay, looking at the flying saucer. We was just standing there. And all of a sudden, something told us, single file, like we were soldiers, turn around, single file, march out of this room and go to your family. So we marched out of there like soldiers and walked back into the kitchen. And I went behind my brother where he was sitting playing cards, and he went behind his mama. And I looked up at the wall that had a clock. It was almost 4:30, okay? This happened around 11:30 is missing. Okay. Then after that, me and him, we never talked about it. Never again. I mean, even the next day, it was just like it was blocked. We could not talk about it. All right. Then, when I was growing up, I lived in North Carolina, Fayetteville, and I went on back home, and then strange things was always happening. I would feel like I would have these dreams of being held up in the air with a light, could not move, and I could only look straight ahead, okay? But my pictorial vision, I could see the gray standing beside me, and he was putting things on my body, and I was like, how I was like, you see Jesus was crucified, had his arms out, and my legs was spread eagled, okay? But I was up in the air, and he was standing to the side, and I could see his hands. His fingers twice as long as my fingers, and he was always putting something on me, okay? And I could see him out of my pictorial vision, his whole face, his eyes, and his small mouth and nose. And I think this happened about every night since I was 12, all the way up till I guess I can't remember. I'm almost 54 now.
Every night? Every night?
About every night, yes. They would come and get me. Lots of times I'd be in a daze, and I could see them taking me up through. The ceiling would be going it'd be in a haze, like a fog. And all of a sudden it just opened up, and they would take me straight out of my bed. And I would see bright lights above me, and I would go out. And lots of times they would come in to my bedroom, and if I wasn't asleep, they would put me out, touch my forehead or something, and I would go out. But
wow,
they would
Ed, did they ever try and communicate with you? Did they have any messages? What's their purpose, do you think? Why are you being visited?
I could not tell you. That was burned into my head, and I can remember when they had me up in the air, I would see these robotic, you ever watch Doctor Who? They had this thing that's like a robot that had this big long rod with the eye on it, But on top of these things, it was like that, but it had like long tentacle arms, okay? And I would see them running around below me, okay, while they was putting these things on me. Then, I could see up above, like they'd be up above me, like, how doctors would be watching a surgery going on, okay? And would have these other beings up along this, like a wall. And they would be looking down at me, watching what's going on, okay? Like it was making sure everything was going right, okay? So, that was some of the weird things that happened to me. Then let me tell you what else happened, okay? I was older. I was about 20. I was working out in IBM building. So I was doing a punch list. We worked out there for years. And I was going back to do a punch list. And it was going to take me about 2 years to do it. And so I was walking off the elevator into a big glass lobby, okay? And I had my punch list. And there was a girl and a guy standing by the glass windows. And all I heard is she say, "Oh, my God, where have you been?" And her brother was standing beside her and said, "Man." She said, "Oh, my God." She just broke out in tears. And she came running up to me and gave me a hug and a kiss. I said, "Oh, my God, where have you been?" You know, just crying, all upset. I said, "Ma'am, I believe you got me confused with somebody else. I really do." "No, I don't. We've been together for 3-4 years. We were supposed to get married, and you left. Something happened. We haven't seen you in 6 months. Where have you been?" And her brother was saying, "Man, this ain't cool. You be doing stuff like this." You know, he's getting mad at me. And I took my wallet out.
So you were missing for 6 months. Nobody knew where you were. All of a sudden, you thought it was just a regular day. You're doing your punch list, working for IBM, it sounds like. And then all of a sudden, people are kind of getting mad at you like you didn't.
She thought I was her fiance, okay? I was engaged with somebody else. I lived in Fayetteville, okay? When I took my wallet out, I took my driver's license out, and I said, "Hey, I'm this guy." And I told her my name, okay? My whole name.
Wow, this is amazing.
And she looked at it and says, No. She starts going, no, it can't be. No, I know who you are. She called me Johnny or something. She took her wallet out of her pocketbook, okay? And she showed me a photo of her and me, okay? And it looked like my identical twins, okay? And I said, and I was standing there trying to explain. I said, "No, ma'am, this is me right here. I've been living here for almost 20 years at this address." I said, "I don't know you. I'm sorry." And I went walking backwards, and I was hitting the button, trying to open up the elevator, and she was bawling, crying, "I don't know you." And I got on the elevator, and I left, okay? And it kind of freaked me out. Then after that, I've had 4 other experiences like that. I had one down in Florida at Disney World. Had a guy and his wife was following me, and he came up and said, "Hey, man, I didn't know you was coming to Florida to go to Disney World." I said, "I think you got me confused." He called me some name, and I said, "No, that's not me. I live in North Carolina." He said, "No, man, I swear, you got a twin. I mean, identical twin. And you've been my best friend for oh God, we grew up together almost, you know?" I said, "No, I said, you got the wrong person." Then I was up in the mountains, okay, and it happened up there. It was at Six Flags. It happened there. I had a person come up and say, "Hey, you're a friend of mine. I know you are. Ain't you? Your hair's a little different." I said, "No."
They're mistaken often, probably daily. Every time we go out, there's always confusion on who we are. But that's because we're identical twin brothers. You know, there's a lot of people that have doppelgangers out there, and I know my twin brother and I have been mistaken for other people out there on a constant basis. Mm-hmm. But in this case, it sounds like it's a little bit. I haven't had anybody cry and say, "No, I've been married to you," anything like that. Now, this is extreme.
Well,
this is extreme.
She said we was engaged, yeah.
Yeah, that must have freaked me out.
That freaked me out. Yeah, but
yeah. What about IBM? You've worked at IBM. What did
I
you
was
do at
doing a punch
IBM?
list. I was doing a
What's a
punch
punch
list.
list?
I was doing a construction. We put in a flooring. Worked in construction. We put in a computer tile floors for their computers to keep the computers raised up, and their heavy duty floors. And we had a contract, and we did the computer flooring for them. It was like 2 or 3 big buildings we did.
All right, Ed, let me ask you this, Ed. What do you think? Some people are having. There's some comments here, and some people are saying a doppelganger or multiple clones. That's from beyond the Omniverse. Some people are also saying that. What do you make of this? Let me see. They're saying that it's a possibility that you might be a victim of time lapse travel. What do you make of that hypothesis?
Well, it's hard to say. Possibly being cloned, because they was always working on me, doing something, and they kept things blocked from me. Okay, I'm wanting to go eventually get hypnotic, try to withcall all this memories. They probably
hypnotic
blocked.
regression, sure.
Regression,
maybe.
Yeah. And I just got to find the right person. It's just, scary to try to get out there and find the wrong people to work on me. And they take me and lock me away and try to find out everything I really know. And
you know what I think you should do? One thing, what I think you should do, sir, is like if you ever come across this again, so far you say it's happened 5 times. What you need to do is meet the person that they're talking about. If you could go, well, can you introduce me to this person that you think it's me? And then, man, that could be that could actually be some people would say a paradox in time that could be quite dangerous if you'd meet yourself in a time shift. It could cause some kind of traumatic rip in time and space. I've heard this before.
Could be, yes. It could be that. There's so many different parallel universes. But
if you had to meet yourself in time and meeting yourself, apparently that gets quite dangerous. Yeah,
true. It could be. But I'll tell you some other weird things. Okay, I got a long story. Okay, one day I was at home after work. I came home. It was winter time, Christmas time.
Well, and I know you have a lot of stories you got to tell us. And let's get through this one, and then we got a lot of callers because they got to share their stories too. But we'll invite you back, no doubt about it. But let's get through one more story, and you can call back anytime on Third Phase Moon. We want to hear more of this stuff. But yeah, go ahead. One more story. This is amazing.
Okay, well, let me. I was going to tell you about. I was sitting in my living room, and it snowed. We had a fresh thing, bunch of snow out there about a foot deep, and we had a Santa Claus, human-sized Santa Claus, right by our big picture window. And I was sitting there eating, and all of a sudden, this Santa Claus lifted straight out of the chair, like, you get out of a chair when you're getting out of a chair, and he turned around, and he bent over, and he looked straight into the window at me. See, I was where I was. Okay, then he turned back around and sat right back into the seat, like a normal person. I jumped up and ran outside and looked around and see if someone was trying to pull a prank or something. Couldn't see no footprints in the snow around the house, front of the house, no footprints at all. I took the face mask off the Santa Claus. There was just just the paper, stuffed paper. And that freaked me out, okay? And now, this present time, I just told my wife, my kids about 3 years ago what's been going on with me, because I've never told nobody about this because it's so far out. So she was out there taking a video at the sunrise behind our woods. We got a great big woods, goes about a mile back. And this green, fluorescent, bright as the sun, was out in the woods, black woods. And the sun started peeking up just a little bit. But this thing she was videotaping, and you couldn't see it with the naked eye, okay? And she had her smartphone. And this thing came flying out of the woods. And we got this all on video. It's a great big mask of beams. These are like little orbs all together. There's about 40 to 50 of them, okay? And she videotaped this flying around our backyard. And it went down below our container wall we got back there. And when that happened, these beams was in that mask came out. And you can see them along the wall. My son put it on the TV, and he took snapshots. And I can send them to you. If you give me your number on your phone, I'll send them to you as soon as I can. But they were
absolutely,
all
Ed. Absolutely. What you need to do is go to my About page on my YouTube channel, and my email address is there. Just go to my YouTube channel, Third Phase of Moon, go to the About page, and my email contact is there. Definitely send that evidence over to us, Ed. Wow, there's so much information I'm sure you want to share. Call back. Keep in touch. Get my email on the About page, please, Ed. Wow, thanks for calling in. What an incredible insight.
You got an awesome show.
Appreciate it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Wow. Did you hear this, people? Did you hear what we just heard? The first caller, this went on for almost 30 minutes, people. And, I bet you he has so much more to share. Ed, call back. Keep in touch. You got my email. Send over that evidence. Wow, quite amazing. Everybody, stand by. Blake Cousins, this is Third Phase of Moon, Friday night. Stand by. All right, we're back. Third Phase of Moon, welcome back. And, wow, that caller, that Ed, that's not the Ed that we all know. There's other people named Ed out there. It didn't sound like that Ed that we all know, the infamous Ed. Yeah, he's got a lot of evidence on both parts. This guy sounded pretty legit. That other Ed, he's got some compelling evidence. Two Eds, two different stories. Wow, quite amazing. Okay, now let's get to more callers. They've been waiting for a while, so let's bring them in. 715. Let's get to area code 715. How you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Real good, actually. So glad we did this Friday night show.
That was talking about.
Wasn't it?
I had something similar happen to me when I was young.
Really?
Back Yeah, back in 1968 in November, second week, our house was on the end of 17th Street in Coeur d'Alene on Boyd Avenue. And
All right.
Anyway, in the middle of the night, I heard my guitar playing. It was in the den, which was next to my bedroom. And I got up and I went into the den. There wasn't anyone in the den, and I'd seen this gray in the window, only he was red, bright red. And I stared at him, and I just imagined myself tearing him apart because I didn't want him to have anything to do with me. And he just ducked away. I scared him.
Wow, that's scary.
And that summer, I'd seen a UFO. It was a cigar-shaped one over the mountain, which we call Stanley Hill. It was about, I would say, a quarter mile long.
Wait a second. Hold on. Let's back it up a little bit. Let me get your name, sir. What's your name?
Jim.
All right, Jim. Well, thanks for calling in. Well, I just want to get back to this alien creature that was. It looked red. What did it look like? It looked like an alien gray, but it wasn't
exactly
gray. It was
like
red.
It was like, you know what the grays look like. I mean, everybody's seen these pictures of the gray face. You know, the big almond eyes and the little teeny nose holes. Exactly
but
like
this time
that.
it's red.
Oh, bright red. Yeah. Like he was wearing a suit. I mean, it was really cold out. I don't know if that's the reason why it's red, but anyway.
Did it illuminate light around it? Was there any ambient light around this, or was it like skin, like almost like an apple arch?
It was like he was bright, like a light, not. It didn't illuminate anything, but it was as if he was illuminated, like there could have been a red light on him that I wouldn't have seen.
Wow. You know, some people are saying a devil gray, maybe. A devil gray. Ooh. Wow, this is getting kind of weird, but let me tell you. So you stared at this thing. You gave it that stare. It was.
Yeah.
Why did you stare at it? Like you're about to fight with it?
Ripping his arms off and ripping his head off, and it just scared him. Yeah, I just intently thought of doing that to him because I just didn't want him in the house. And
so you imagined to
never
yourself.
had anything like that happen after that.
Wow. So you looked at this thing and you're like, man, if you come any closer, I'm going to tear your head off. And the thing kind of got your vibe, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So what, did you look for any evidence of whatever this thing was? Did you look for any kind of
yes, on
residue?
YouTube, or not on YouTube, but on Google Earth. Recently.
What do you mean?
I mean, I looked at my house on Google Earth where I lived, and there's a dead tree near where that window is.
A dead tree?
There's the house next to our house had a lot of pine trees, and you have to, on Google Earth, you'd have to look above the house. You can't even see it from the street view, but above the house you could see this dead tree, and it was right near where the window was. But I had also seen, in the summertime, I'd seen this quarter-mile-long UFO that was cigar-shaped. And it was hovering over the mountain, and I was just about to tell everybody, look, and just as I stuck my arm out, it shot off at unimaginable speed. And I couldn't say anything to anybody. It was like, oh, rats. I could have told you guys, oh well. It's just, I'm 62 now, so I don't have to worry about, it was like when you began the show, it was like you're reading my mind. I'd never want to call in on anything like this happening because, I'm retired, so now I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you shared your story because No matter how old you are, if you've experienced something out of worldly like what you just explained to us, Jim, wow, I'm so glad you called in. It's really important, and maybe other people around the world will hear your story in regards to this. Alien red, like a devil, an alien gray devil. I don't know any way to explain it other than that. Alien gray devil. It resembled something extraterrestrial, but you had this encounter and you shared it. You feel like you're not having to be afraid of any repercussions from people heckling you or whatever, like I just said in the beginning of the program. But man, took a lot of guts anyway. So I applaud you. Thank you so much for calling in, sir. Thanks, Jim.
I'm glad I did. We'll see you.
Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. This radio show, Third Phase Moon radio show, you hear it all, you hear it, and we keep the lines open and people share their stories. And you got to have an open mind about this stuff. Why would these guys want to lie? There's no reason for this. No reason whatsoever. And they just want to share it. They just want to share it to the world. It's amazing. It's amazing. Let's bring in more callers. They're wanting to share their stories. Let's get to it. 425, you there? Hello?
Hello? Can you hear
how
me?
you doing tonight? Yeah, loud and clear.
Goodness.
How you doing, sir?
I can't believe I got through.
No problem. I'm glad you made it.
For a couple of years.
You've been trying to call into Third Phase of Moon for 2 years, and it's the first time you've gotten in. Amazing. What?
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, this is big. Okay.
Wow. Congratulations. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. It's Third Phase of Moon. Let's get it started. What's your name, sir?
Thank you, Blake. My name is Dave.
All right, Dave. You got something that you want to share to the world tonight? Let's hear it.
I do. I do indeed. Right now I'm holding my hand over my Bible. And I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Well, I have to say my experiences started when I was about 8 years old. My heart's beating really good right now because it's... Wow. Okay. Well, let's just get right to it. Okay. I've had a couple experiences, but I've been listening to your show for quite a while. I remember a guy talking about a liquid silver UFO. Are you familiar with that?
Absolutely. And yeah, no
liquid
problem.
silver.
I'm so glad you called in tonight. And relax, man. Relax. You're with people that take your time. We've had thousands of callers. Your story, no matter how bizarre it gets, it's not unusual. It happens all the time. So welcome to the show, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, go. The liquid metal
Thank
story.
You, Blake.
I recall that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my story starts at 8 years old. I remember waking up in my bedroom to a weird humming noise. I looked over, and me and my brother, we shared a bedroom together in Washington. I'm calling from Marysville, Washington, and I only live maybe 10 miles away from the house that this happened in. Well, it was maybe I want to say around 3 a.m. that I woke up, weird noise, and I looked over and my brother wasn't in his bed, and so, I got really worried, and the noise kind of drew me toward itself, and I started down my hallway and down the stairs, and as I got closer and closer to the noise, it got louder and louder. It sounded like a hum, like wum 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 kind of noise, and I went to my living room where the noise was coming from, and this might sound a little weird, a little different from what you've heard on your show, but as I came around the corner of my living room and I was looking in, I saw this shiny metallic disc, and it was sitting in the center of my living room. From what I could tell, it had the ability to distort the space around it. It made my living room look as if it was maybe 15 to 20 feet longer than it was.
Incredible.
And as I approached this shiny metallic disc, I have to say it sounded very similar to the guy who, a long time back, maybe not too long back, shiny silver, metallic silver, maybe kind of like a mercury. And I approached this disc that was, I don't know if it was projecting an image around it to make my house look larger than it was or whatnot, but I got really, really close to it, and I could tell that by the time I got maybe within a couple feet of it, it was producing the noise around it, and I was reaching out my hand to touch it. I wanted to touch it. I wanted to feel it, and before I could get maybe a foot within my hand in between the disc, I heard my brother scream. I heard him scream like a bloody murder scream, like real loud. And it really scared the crap out of me. And at that time, I looked to my right, where there was this extra added kind of dimension to my house that wasn't there. I can only describe it as 4 portable stalls, like almost like bathroom stalls when you walk into a bathroom or something like that. And the sound, I could kind of tell from auditory hearing that the sound was coming from like the second door from the left, and I decided I was going to walk up to that door. I was stricken with fear, almost petrified, but I had to do it, and because of fear from my brother, and I opened up that door, and I was appalled by what I saw. I saw my brother, and he was strapped to a table. It was interesting. It was kind of inclined, kind of like you were at the dentist and they were doing some work on your teeth.
Wow.
Well, there were 3 little tiny gray beings around him, you know, the ones with the big black eyes, and they were teardrop shaped. And as soon as I opened that door, I screamed bloody murder. I screamed as loud as I could, as strong as I could. And these beings, they did not move in the same time-space dimension that we move in. They kind of moved in a distorted pattern, almost as if they were digital or some other entity other than like a human being. Well, it got really weird all of a sudden. Like, there was the tall one, there was the tallest one, and there were a couple of shorter ones, the 2 shorter ones. And the tall one was standing behind my brother, and he had what I can only describe as like some kind of telekinetic connection with him, and he was trying so hard at that time when I screamed to keep that connection with my brother. The one closest to me, which was maybe 2-3 feet away at that time, it opened its mouth, and I mean, I never seen pictures or anything with gray aliens with their mouths open or anything like that, but it had kind of like a cat-like teeth, I could say, and it kind of shrieked. It shrieked. When I screamed, they all didn't notice me when I opened the door because they were doing something to them, you know. And it shrieked like it was scared. I scared these things. They were startled by me opening this door and catching them in the act of whatever they were doing.
Wow, what were they doing? What were they doing?
Okay, there was this weird arm from the chair that protruded over my brother's head. And it was like a robotic arm, and it had a huge needle on it, like maybe a foot long or longer. And this needle was about to go down my brother's throat. It was heading towards my brother's throat. And it was going down. My brother was shaking. I could see him shaking and startling. And I just screamed because I was so appalled by what was going on. These beings were surrounding my brother, and this needle was about to go down his throat, and I could do nothing but scream. As soon as I screamed, they made eye contact. As soon as they made eye contact with me, everything just began to go cloudy and misty, and it was like this black swirls in my eyes, and all of a sudden I was blacked out. I couldn't remember anything after that. I mean, I couldn't remember a single thing, and it took me a couple of years to even remember this. But I remember telling myself as a kid, you cannot forget this. This is one of the most important things that ever happened to you. You have to remember this. This is so important. And I've remembered it ever since then. It comes to me and goes and comes to me and goes. And I have to say it scared me more than anything else that ever scared me before in my life. It scared me so bad I had to forget it,
Forget about it. You want to black it out from your memory almost, but you couldn't let it go. You couldn't let it go. It stuck with you. This sounds amazingly scary, if you ask me. This whole experience you've been telling us about. This is incredible. You got any more details? I want to hear more about man, you walk in, and when you said when the alien opened his mouth, and you're right. I've never seen an alien just go oh my God moment, and you basically scared the crap out of this thing.
Oh, wow. They were so scared.
And he said
they were so scared. They were so scared that they started to move within this dimension that they were in, and I could see them moving distortedly through this dimension. It wasn't like we move, we can see everything real good and everything. It kind of happened in particles or parcel space where it took a couple seconds for them to move their arms and move their head towards me, and like when the one closest to me opened its mouth, it kind of squinted its eyes like, what the heck is going on next to me? And then they made eye contact with me, and as soon as they made that eye contact with me, they were able to tap into my consciousness or something and just lock a part of my brain and just take control at that point of my body or my mind or something. I don't quite know how to describe it because it's just a little too crazy. But, I mean, this isn't the only time something like this has happened. I mean...
Yeah, I bet you that this isn't the only time and the last time. But I want to... where's your brother now? I want to get that information. Also, this is really amazing show tonight, talking with the people that are calling in. And now we got... I think your name is Dave. Dave, is that correct?
That's correct, sir. Yeah, Blake, I really appreciate your show. You brought a lot of light into things that I've experienced and other people experience. The most important part about your show is allowing the other people to call in and share their stories, because, I mean, I've heard so many stories, and sometimes I'll listen in, I'll be like, oh, man, was that guy high, or was that guy on drugs, or something like that, and then sometimes they'll share a part of something about what happened to them that just really hits home with something that I went through during that time. I met someone else in my lifetime when I was in high school who went through something similar, and I mean, I honestly think this person, I won't say his name for the sake of his story that he shared with me. But he was abducted, and I believe him to the fullest, because when he shared his story with me, he was in tears. He told me that I was his best friend, and that he's never told anybody about what happened to him or whatnot. And I mean, his story is beyond mine. By far, his story is beyond mine. And I mean, the reality of what we're living in now, and the research that I've done, I've come to the conclusion that this guy is some kind of hybrid. I mean, it all started with his mother, you know, and it all started with her. When they came for her, they took her baby from her. They took it out of her womb, and she went to the hospital, and they told her that there was no sign of any kind of anything in her stomach anymore, you know, that she didn't have no baby there anymore. And then a couple months later, all of a sudden, she was pregnant again with a baby that was more developed than the one that she went to the hospital and they determined there was nothing there with, you know. So I have to say, you know, if you'd let me share his story a little bit, I'd more than appreciate you letting me shed some light on his stories too. Well, it all started, you know, when.
Well, let me say this. Let me say
young.
this real quick, Dave. Let me say this, because this is what you just brought up about this alien hybrid breeding program, which is I've spoken to a lot of people, a lot of women that have called into the show. And thanks for what you just said. That's why we do Third Phase Moon radios, because exactly what you said, to share your stories to the world and let people have a forum to share it, which is quite amazing. I got one more question for you. But before I get to that, yes, this alien hybrid breeding program, it's real. It's real. There are so many women that have called in on this show, and I've interviewed them personally, and they've said that they've been abducted by aliens, impregnated, and now all of a sudden they're pregnant, and then they're abducted, and then their child is taken from them by these aliens. And then people have to live with this. Their lives are changed, and yeah, I'm sure it's not easy. What I want to ask you real quickly is, Dave, is where's your brother now?
He maybe lives 15 miles away from me. There was another experience that happened to him and me prior to maybe when I was 13 years old. I remember waking up to a door knock on my door on the house that I was living in, and it was my brother, and he had been missing for a couple of days, and it was really weird because he was wearing his Carhartt jacket, and he had only his boxers on, and this is really weird, I know, but when I answered that door, he's standing there, and he looked really weary, just like he had been up for hours and hours and hours, and he couldn't talk straight. He couldn't elaborate on where he had been. He couldn't tell me anything, and all he could tell me is he remembered waking up in the middle of the night and having to wander into the woods because there was something calling him to the woods, and I just remember him telling me about how scary it was for him, and I remember asking him questions, you know, like what happened, where were you, you know, and what became of all that, and he had no explanation of it, you know, and at that time I was like, well, you've been gone for 2 days. Well, what's going on here? And he just bursted into tears, and he told me he couldn't tell me, you know. And a couple of years later, I tried to I tried to talk to him about it, and he just had no explanation of what happened to him. He told me that he could never talk to me about it after that. And that
Wow. Here we go again. Multiple callers in one night, missing time, alien abductions. And this isn't the first time, people. It won't be the last time. It happens every day of the 7 days, 24/7. It's happening. And if you've experienced this, you got to share this to Third Phase Moon. We do this now every Friday and Monday. We do this radio show. And if you captured something incredible on video, you got to submit it to us right here at Third Phase Moon. Our contact information, our email,